Go ahead, tag and share. Let's get everybody in for Wake Up Wednesday. Kareen, how are you? Tag, share. Let's get everybody in today. I want to say good afternoon and once again, welcome to Wake Up Wednesday right here on Hallelujah 95.3. Hey, once again, it's always a blessing just to be alive, just to be in the number one more time. And certainly we're excited about what's going on in and around our city, our state. And we want to say to all of you who are tuned in, remember, God has so much in store. And as we wind down to another year, you got so much to be thankful for. I want to say good afternoon and happy anniversary, a little late anniversary to Doris Strong and her family. Wonderful. Thank God for all of you. I want to say good afternoon to Vernon James, who's tuned in to us on our Facebook. Listen, all of our Facebook audience, I want you to go ahead on and tag, share. I want you to get everybody in. And for those of you who are listening to the broadcast, I want to say to you that we're excited to have you. Listen, so much is going on around our city, and I'm excited about one of the young men that I'm getting ready to talk to today. I'm excited about what he's doing. I'm excited about the passion that he has to do what he's doing, and I want to welcome him to the broadcast. I want to say good afternoon to Mr. Leroy Smith. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, man. Appreciate you for having me on this wonderful show, man, with wonderful host.
Well, you know, listen, man, I am just excited about what you're doing, and I just thought it was so befitting that you would come on and let's talk about what you're doing and where you're doing it at. And the reason why I wanted you on, because I want the community to know that there are men who are investing in young men. And not only are they investing in young men, but they're taking their own personal stories to share with young men how choices and consequences can change their lives. And you have been using your story, Leroy, to change lives for how long now?
Since 2010. I've been doing this since 2010 because I knew it was a need. I knew what I needed growing up. I needed mentorship. I needed guidance. I needed direction. So God put it in my heart to give it to these young men that are coming behind me so they can have somebody coming behind them so they can know which road to go. We call it pathway.
Well, you know what? Let me do this because let me just let our listening audience and listen to me when I tell you we're tuned in about. There are at least 10,000 people or more that are tuned in to the broadcast listening to us today. So I want all of my Facebook family, my YouTube family, my Instagram, and those who are listening through the way of the radio, I want them to know who I am talking to, because it's so important to know that there are men who are making a difference in our communities. And with all that we see surrounding gun violence, with all that we see that's happening in our community, this is a real call for men to become men on the move that's operating under a mandate to make a difference. So joining me on the phone line is none other than Mr. Leroy Smith. Mr. Leroy Smith grew up right here in the Gadsden and Leon County area, primarily the Gadsden area, graduated from high school in the Gadsden County area and went on to play football at the Florida State University and went on to the NFL. Let's talk a little bit about you coming up, Leroy, and then I want to move into what has propelled you into some of the things that you are now doing. Coming up, what do you look at now when you look at our young men now, when you look at young men during your era, what you think is the difference now?
Oh, the difference now is we had coaches, we had a systematic athletic program. John Ferlito is a white guy, and he had developed a systematic program in Gadsden County where we grew up playing sports in which we were able to divert from the street. So I'm just doing what I know, like me, Coach Willie Simmons, Coach Alex Jackson, Dexter Jackson, all of us grew up in that system where we played sports year round to keep us all from the street. All of us are successful in our own way because we made it out. We got a college education. Some went to play professional. Some are coaching college and doing great things. But it was this system of athletics that taught us transferable skills to be great productive citizens.
Wow. And you saying something that is so key. And first of all, I want to thank you so much for allocating some of your time today just to talk about what's coming up. I know you got a very busy schedule. You're doing so much, but I'm thankful that you were able to, squeeze some time in to share with our audience how they can hear and how they can help the cause that you're fighting for. You said something that was so important. Systems. There were systems in place that provided an avenue for you all to stay in a positive environment. Yeah. So do you think that we're looking at an era now where the systems have been broken?
Yeah, see, the system, and it's not just one-sided. I think the parents let the coaches coach. I think the coaches were coaching to help the kids. And I think the kids listen to the coaches and the parents. So now we have to come together. In today's time, no one wants to listen to no one.
Wow.
Everyone is for their own personal gain. So how I run my program is a system of we all are working together to help these kids get to the next level. It has to be a system of cohesiveness because nothing can grow in disorder.
Wow. System.
Nothing can grow.
Wow.
And we were able to be exposed and do great things because we was working together.
Wow.
It had to be ordered together.
Wow. So when there's disorder, nothing is growing in disorder. There has to be togetherness. There has to be order. You now, you spent time, when we take a look at your journey, if we was to, walk back in history, your role at Florida State. Let's talk about that for a little while. And because I want to give the listening audience an opportunity to hear you, but I want them to feel you, because when we finished it with this broadcast, I want people to know that they want to partner with you to help you do what you're doing to make a difference with our boys. Let's talk a little bit at Florida State.
So our role at Florida State, it was all about me observing greatness. Me observing, because when I got to Gadsden County, I'm a country boy. I'm this hard-working, this kid that was wild-eyed and just easy. But once I got to Florida State, over the years, I learned how to play. I learned how to prepare at elite level. I learned from the But he had order. He had order within his partnership with his coaches, his partnership with the community, his partnership with the parents of the kids who he recruited. It was a system of excellence that people still use to this day. So he taught me, so the state taught me how to be great.
Wow.
Just like Dion saying, to dominate. It ain't just winning. It's dominate. It's the selling so high that your mind can't even think of it. That's what Florida State taught me.
Wow.
Based on how you prepare.
Wow. And then you move from that level, you go into a new level of sports, which is you move into the NFL level. What was that like?
The NFL level was basically learning how not to do it wrong. It was about politics. It was about being in the right place at the right time with the right people. That's what the NFL taught me. Everyone has money. Some people have more money than others. But you have to understand, you're protecting a brand now. We talk about brand. You got to be in the right place at the right time with the right people doing the right thing.
Wow.
Hear that? Did you hear that?
I hear you. Right place, right timing, and the right people doing the right thing. Wow. And many times we are missing out on the timing and understanding how important that is. So here it is. And for those of you who are listening, I'm talking with Coach Leroy Smith, who is the founder of Win-Win Elite, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about that. But I just wanted to give you a walk down memory lane of his own life, starting out in Gadsden County, knowing how important it was to be involved with mentors, knowing how important it was to have a system in place, graduating from Gadsden High School, going on to Florida State, understanding what that did for him, having moments in the NFL, knowing what that did for him. And now you come back and now you're involved in the educational system. Let's talk a little bit about what you saw as an educator as you spent time in the Gadsden County school system and in the Jefferson County school system. What did you see that really caused your heart to burn even the more, saying that I've got to do more, I've got to make something happen beyond what I'm doing in the classroom?
I saw that kids wanted order. They wanted order, but they just lacked the resources. They lacked the support. But they wanted order. Even your toughest, roughest kids wanted order. They wanted somebody to tell. They wanted somebody to support them. They wanted somebody to be able to, have their back. And I saw that before it gave me the burning desire to do what I continued to do for 12, 13 odd years. They wanted order and they wanted support, but they lacked resources. Wow. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about people standing in front of them, showing them. They lack the like uniforms or pencils or food or clothing. They lack these things, these resources, which brought their confidence. And you can call it faith. Their confidence down. So they can't work. And then once they're not confident, and then people start laughing at them, what's that going to do?
Street.
That's what I saw. So I continue to try to keep them, to encourage them, to motivate them, to empower them, to help them understand the system, because knowledge is the basis of everything.
Wow. Coach Smith, listen, man, I tell you, I know you got to go, but I want to, if I can just steal a few more minutes of your time, because people who are listening to this broadcast are making some amazing comments about what you're saying. You saw that. And for you, you was a educator in the classroom, and then you was a head coach as well. And from all of that, you birthed a nonprofit that's called Win-Win Elite. But before I go to Win-Win Elite and what you're doing now, what do you feel like was some of the highlight moments of your career in the classroom, watching these kids and being a part of their lives? And most of them were living in single parent homes.
When I can say, I know Montrez Knight, when he was in the 7th grade, that he could make it to the NFL. And not only that, he was a C student, a DC student, and I told him, you can make it to the NFL, man. I'm gonna work.
And this young man is from Gretna, Florida.
Yes. When I told him, I spoke that into his life, and he went on and did it. And not only did he do it, he got his master's from UCLA.
I saw that. Listen, I had an opportunity to visit him when he was in Maryland, and he was playing, man, I can't, now he was he in Maryland?
Yes, he was in Maryland. Yes, he was in Maryland.
He was in Maryland. I got a chance to visit him then. I got a chance to spend some time with him. I was up there in Washington, and I think I might have called you to get his number. But anyway, one of the things that I admired about him then, he was very studious then. I mean, the time that we spent together, once that time was up, he was headed to study sessions. And then when I found out he had gotten his master's, man, I was literally like blown away, because now education has now become something that is a part of his life. It flows through his veins. So he's an amazing kid. And now he's with the San Francisco 49ers, right?
Absolutely.
You spoke that into his life.
You have other kids that didn't know, that kids, when kids tell me they came to school just to fight, now these kids are in college graduating.
Wait, let's stop. Let's rewind. You've had kids tell you they came to school just to fight. And therefore, you had to now redirect their whole thought process and show them the value of an education, and show them also how they can become victimized by fighting.
I'm not that great for one. I had to tell you that. Guess what I did? I showed them support and love.
Wow.
That's it. I kept them with me. I showed them support and love. That's it.
And I'm sure now that as you look back over your life, I'm sure there's so many kids that are now grateful for not your dollars, because it wasn't about dollars for them. It was about your ability to show the support and love that they were missing out on.
Absolutely. You saw me a couple of times bringing kids to church. I took them everywhere because kids, you can tell a child, tell a person that you love them or that you care about them. But I took time to show them. So therefore, the kids started looking at my movements and my actions. And that's what made me a great teacher. That's what makes me a great coach. That's what makes me a great trainer. That's what makes my business the way they do it, because it's not just words. And that is the system that Joe Bellino, that Bobby Bowden, that NFL talk. It's not just words, it's action.
It's action. And I'm gonna say this to you, because this to be honest with you, man, the way that this show appeared today, I know it's God, because I have been so busy until it's like it's Sunday, it's Monday, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, and my days are just running together. And to be honest with you, I woke up moving, forgot that Greg James Community Show happens on Wednesday. And here it is, you and I were talking, and I was hearing your heart. And I said, listen, let's just talk about it on air. That's how this show was birthed today. It wasn't planned, it wasn't orchestrated, but God needs someone to hear this. And there are comments that are coming in now talking about this is game changing. This is awesome. You showed action, and I think that meant something. So even when kids found themselves facing the law, facing the court, many times you reached out to me, and without hesitation, we went to Lentz Inn to ensure that, one, we provide an alternative to incarceration. And we got to get a big shout out to our state attorney, Jack Campbell. We got to give a big shout out to him, because what people don't know, Coach Smith, is so many times we sat with him with kids who were looking at sentencing that could have put them in prison. We sat with him for a long time. We sat with him talking about alternatives to this young man's career or to his life. And those are the moments that people don't see. Those are the times that people cannot witness. But you have been so instrumental in, there were several kids who wouldn't have graduated.
Wouldn't have graduated. These kids were incarcerated, got out and earned a college scholarship. Because of Jack Campbell, because of you, and I appreciate you, man. Because of Jack Campbell, I said that we pleaded for him to allow the kids to, with that, and put them in my program, and the kid was able to get a college scholarship. And that was very, it didn't only help the kids, it helped other kids who saw that. You got to understand, it didn't help that kid. The other kids who were acting out, say, I can straighten my life, or maybe I can get a scholarship.
Absolutely.
You got to understand. So, one person, and that just showed me that I don't have to say anyone. Maybe the kid that I touched can say the man.
Absolutely. And it goes back to this word action. And one of the things that I'll say, and then we're going to move on, because man, this is really a blessing a lot of people. I'm getting a lot of comments here, but this is blessing a lot of people, because what we're talking about is how do we change this generation. And we're talking with Coach Leroy Smith, who has had an opportunity to, one, be in the classroom. He's had the opportunity to be coaching on the fields. He's had the opportunity to have hands-on, and he's been for the last 12 years with his nonprofit Win-Win Elite. He's been investing in our children, especially our males, because if we don't save them, then they're going to end up either in the system or they're going to end up in the cemetery. So we've got to save them. And I'm glad to have you talking with us today, because this is life-changing. Because I was just in a meeting the other night over at the Sheriff Department with Brother Royal and our sheriff and so many other pastors, Pastor McGee, and who's leading the Sheriff Faith Initiative. And for all you pastors, ministers who have not become a part of this initiative, this Faith Alliance for the Leon County Sheriff Department, please reach out to me, reach out to Pastor McGee, reach out to Pastor Judy, reach out to any pastor that's a part of it, and get on board. You love to talk about who's doing what, and you love to talk about, well, why they always at the forefront. Well, this is your opportunity to get involved. It's about action. And so one of the things that they were saying is that we have to have mentors. We have to have people who are there. Let's talk a little bit now about your program and what your program is doing.
So my program is Diamonds in the Rough, and Win-Win League is another part of my entity. Diamonds in the Rough is a program that I designed where we men
And how long you been doing this?
12 years.
Have you been wait, let me ask you this. Because see, you are the kind of individuals, and there's so many like you, for 12 years. Have you been getting any grants to do this?
No grants.
Wait, wait. Let me just take you through this, because see, I need people to hear. I need people to hear that there are people in our communities who are passionate, who are mandated by the Almighty to do what they are doing. Now, Coach Smith was coaching, and the Lord gave me a prophetic word to him while in church one Sunday. I told him, I said, the Lord says, you will not be coaching no more. Your whole life is getting ready to shift. You're going to be in classrooms. You're going to be encouraging, inspiring. And I think in a matter of, I don't know how long, he came back and said, Pastor, do you have to stay with the Lord in prayer? Because I'm not coaching no more. And now I'm just going to let God lead me. And today his life has taken on a greater anointing to deal with men the way he's doing them. So diamonds in the rough. Listen to what I'm about to say. In the rough, you now are doing what you're doing without any funding. You're not getting any grants. And you've applied, you've tried, but you didn't let that stop you.
No, of course not. Because God made a way to help me take kids to. We flew 25 kids to Las Vegas. When we got to Las Vegas, we went to UNLV. When we went to UNLV, we went to the Los Angeles Raiders Stadium where we were on the field with the players. That's how God was working in my organization.
And guess what that has done? What has that done for them? What has that done for the mindset of some young men who probably would not have made it out of Gadsden? They probably wouldn't have made it out of the areas that they live in. What has that done?
When you expose the kids to a new environment, or you expose them to success, that promotes success. So when they come back home, they're like, oh no, man, I can't do this. Because I got a life, I got a future, I got hope. Because this is what I thought, this is what I want to be. And I was able to touch it and control it and feel it.
Just the idea of seeing the possibilities that awaits me, the opportunity that awaits me gives me an opportunity to say no to drugs, to say no to the peer pressure, to say no to the gun violence, to say no, because my life now has new meaning. And now you've been doing all of this with just partners, just people who believing in you.
Partners, basically me, 80%, and then the rest 20 partners, and the little part, the money that the parents can pay. But listen, over this period of time, we help kids in our program collectively earn academic and athletic scholarship funding over $7 million.
Wait. Let's stop. Because see, I need people to hear this. And listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, the 10,000+ of you who are listening. I want you to hear this. There are so many men like Mr. Leroy Smith that's in our community making a difference, who have knocked on county doors, who knocked on city doors, who knocked on state doors, trying to just get funding to help do what he's doing. And once they get the no, or once they get, you need to do this, that slows them down. So therefore they got to keep pushing and figure out other ways to create partnerships to do what they're doing. Over $7 million in 12 years that have been poured into the lives of young men that he's touched, that have gone off to college, whether it's academic or athletically. They didn't pick up a gun. Well, let's say this. They might have had a gun until they got with you.
I saw him at damn just a thing. He was suffering. And but he told me, Coach, he got the trade name on mine. And the kid is working at Tim's now. He's getting trouble all the time.
Wow.
Another kid is working at UPS. Another kid, and it's not just that's what I think people think my organization is just about athletics. No, it's the system in place to help with the transferable skills that you use everywhere.
Wow. You know what? I got to stop you because you just said that key word again. It's a system that you have in place that helps with the transferable skills. Athlete, being an athlete is just the draw, but life goes on beyond football, beyond basketball, because everybody's not going to make it to the NFL. Everybody's not going to make it to the NBA. Everybody is not going to make it into a professional sports, but if you're able to take and show them how to be a winner at life, then you're making the difference in their life. And I'm sure that when you hear these young men that you remember being knuckleheads and skipping class until you grabbed them up by the hand and gave them a real sit-down man-to-man conversation. I'm sure when you see them and hear their stories and what they're doing now, it makes you feel good. And there's no money in the world that can pay for that kind of feeling.
It's perfect. I know I'm fulfilling my purpose that the man upstairs wanted me to do. That's it. That's it. Like, and I love having the time. I love smiling. I just do it with a smile. But as long as I'm fulfilling the purpose that God has for me and showing people how to live in their purpose for the thing, I got 5 for just a county. I still have to live in that purpose. I still have to live in that purpose to help others.
Wow.
The way God wants me to help them. You understand how hard is that? I know you understand that. But you don't understand how hard that is, how hard that was. And I'm still doing it. Now he has me. I'm about to partner with the #1 wild card company in the country.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
From California, because of the word has spreading about the kids, or how the kids conduct themselves on these trips that I'm on. I got college coaches reaching out to me about these kids, because how they conduct themselves. Yes, sir, no, sir. How they look, how they move.
But here's the beautiful part about it, and let's and then we're going to talk about what you got coming up, man. Listen, we have spent, one thing about it, we have spent almost an hour, and people are saying, I mean, the comments are just amazing. But here's the thing about it. The kids, the young men that you encounter, you don't encounter them with the yes sir, no sir in their mouth when you encounter them. You don't encounter them with their pants above their waist with a belt on. You don't encounter them like that. You have to develop that in their life.
Of Diamonds in the Rough is find your gift, develop your gift, so you can share your gift with the world.
Wow.
That's the motto of Diamonds in the Rough. And guess what? I told my son this last night. Guess what? You are the gift.
Well, now you know what? Well, I know you don't like to do this, but let me just for a minute brag on you as a father and your son, because I remember the struggle that you were having with him. And I think, I remember when he didn't even want to play football, and it wasn't about football for you. It was about you getting him to understand some valuable lessons that take place on the field that can help him really move through the field called life. I remember. But look at him now. He's gotten his master's. He went to school on the.
I told him at the age of 10, when I was working out, I can remember this so vividly. I was working out, and I had him in the gym with me, and he was just watching. And I my son, that's my bloodline. I said, nah, you're not watching this because you're home. I said, why are you watching like that? He asked me, he said, I'm just wondering how in the world I'm going to be like you. I stopped looking. I stopped my phone. I told him, I said, listen, man, you don't have to worry about being like me. I'm going to show you how to be better than you. And that was my goal, to make my kids and the people around me, the youth, better than me. Not about how we do. I want to be better than me.
Wow. And the thing that I really admire and I love about you is the same amount of energy and the same amount of investment that you put in your son. You put that in so many parents' sons as you do the work that you're doing with Diamonds in the Rough and Win Elite. Listen, and I know you over 12 years, man, you got so many success stories. And I know that there's so many parents who are just so proud of the work that you're doing. Stephanie Tolbert, listen, we respect you. Stephanie is out in the community working with our girls. I mean, another program that's out making a difference. And our girls are just as, oh my God, I want to say they carrying weapons just like our boys. I mean, and I want to commend Stephanie. I mean, she's another one who has a program fighting to get funding. But if the funding don't come, guess what? She's still doing what she has to do to make a difference in our community. And that's what it's all about. And one day I'm going to have a convention with all of the unsung heroes in our community doing what they need to do without the funding. Let's talk about what's happening in December, just days away. Let's talk about what you're doing. And I want to get some people on board with you today to help support that even the more.
Absolutely. We're about to have our 7-on-7 trial. 7-on-7 is where we get the best of the best in the big field to travel around the country to perform against the other great kids in the other areas. Texas was big. Our kids get dogged and seen by different writers and things of that sort. However, with what has gone on at FAMU with the shooting the other day, I went to FAMU. I went to the problem, and I asked, can I went out there field because I want to have my 7-on-7 tryout there, and I want to face the problem. I want the cops to come out there and talk to these young men about gun violence. I want them to talk to these kids about making decisions because cops need to familiarize themselves with these kids.
Well, let me ask you this now: how many young men will be there for that particular?
Last year I had 70 kids. Last year I had 70 kids on my team. We ended up taking on 35.
Okay, so listen to me. What date is that?
It's December 18th. I'm gonna have the flyer made on Friday. I'm gonna send it out. It's gonna be out on Friday. It's gonna be $25 per kid. It's early registration. And it's gonna be a good deal. It's always a big deal. My Win Win Elite trial is everybody. The motto for Win Win Elite. The acronym for Win Win Elite. Win is when you find out what's important now. Work is necessary. So we already know what's important. What's at the forefront? Gun violence. What we need to do is work is necessary. We need to work to keep these kids, keep these guns out of these hands.
And you are making a plea for law enforcement officers to join you so that they can have a serious conversation on the field with your. Okay, so listen, whether that's so this is what I want to say to those of you who are listening to the broadcast. If you got a family member that's in law enforcement, whether that's TPD, FAMU, Florida State, FDLE, whatever the law enforcement agency is in the city, let's get in touch with Mr. Leroy Smith to have law enforcement involved so that you can help facilitate the young men that he's going to have with him, their awareness about gun violence, about the relationship that they need to have with law enforcement, because this is the problem, Coach Smith. People, especially our young people, feel like law enforcement is the enemy.
That's right. Oh, I know that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They need to get familiarized themselves with these kids. The kids need to feel like, okay, I gotta say it again. Love and support. They need to start the policemen are supporting them. Whether they're trying to kill them or just lock them up. That's the thing. We need commissioners out there. The ones who just won, yeah. We need them out there.
Okay. So you
because I'm telling you, this deep because the kid just got shot the other day. And that's not the only kid. It happens all the time.
All the time. And you know the thing, and here's the thing that we've got to be able to know. We got to be able to know that there are people like yourself who's leading nonprofits that are dealing with our young men, who's in your own work making a difference, who's in your own work doing what's necessary to educate, to empower, and to enlighten our young men, and who's trying to let them know that these choices that you're making got consequences that will last a lifetime. Here it is, you get in trouble at 14 or 15, you feel like, oh, I'm a juvie, it's nothing's gonna happen. But then when you get to be 25, 27, 29, that record is still there. So on December the 16th, 18th, December 2 to 6, December the 18th, Mr. Leroy Smith, listen to what he's doing. He is inviting, and because we were talking about this today, I invited him to the show. He's going to work out all the details, but this is the key right now. This is the key. We are looking for law enforcement officers to do what? Come out, have a round table conversation on the field with between 70. Let the system work. And then this is what I want you to do. Those of you who are Facebook followers, if you would go to Leroy Smith's page, and if you want to support this initiative, I mean, whatever contribution you want to make towards it, find him, make that contribution. Because why? Like I'm telling you, there are so many men who are doing programs in our community who are making it happen because they have committed to making it happen. And if they don't get no funding, they gotta make it happen because it's a mandate. They see what the investment in our children do. Here's a young man who may take 10 or 12 kids to the Dairy Queen just to eat ice cream, to have conversation about what's going on with other kids that they're dealing with, so he can inform them of the choices and the consequences. I mean, so ladies and gentlemen, these are the men and women that we got to wrap our arms around. We got to figure out how to get them the financial support that they need. They don't do this because they're trying to get rich. There's no money in doing this. We spend more helping. And you know, and that's what bothers me when people see, when they see the work, they feel like, oh, they doing this to get money. No. Let's correct your thought process. He flew 25 young men to California. Let me break it down. Okay. We had to get 216 factions vans to drive to Panama City. I'm just going to give you the numbers. That was $300 per van. Then we had to get the flight, which was $1,000 per kid, per person. That's a round trip. Then we had to get the hotel. Okay, that's $25,000. Okay. We had to get the hotel. So we had to get like 20 rooms. So we had to get like 13 rooms. Wow. And here's the beautiful part about it. Here's the beautiful part about it. Here's the beautiful part about it. And we're wrapping up the show. Dr. Willie Williams, thank you so much. Dr. Willie Williams say that again. There is no money in what we do daily for our youth. Absolutely. Here's the beautiful part about it, Coach. That was just one. And that one trip took you reaching out to partners, to friends, doing fundraisers, doing whatever you needed. But that one trip with 25 young men made them come back and probably change 250 young men, because the investment that you made stopped them from being a part of a system that would get residual income off of them, or it stopped you from causing a family to create a GoFundMe to get them buried. So when we make an investment on the front end, it seemed like it was a luxurious trip because they flew. For some of them, that was the first time even getting on an airplane. It seemed like a luxurious trip because the rooms were $200 a night, but it was probably 4 or 5 of them in the room. Okay? But the biggest thing is the investment changed their mindset about coming back to the neighborhood, wanting to be in the crowd that's doing things that could damage their life forever. And those 25 gentlemen came back, and they became now messengers of hope. They became messengers of change. So we got to find these programs that are doing what looks like glorious, but it's a lot of work to invest in our kids. We got to do that, ladies and gentlemen. And for those elected officials who are elected in office, we got to stop and pause and evaluate and give accountability to these funded programs that we're funding. And I'm saying this because one of the things that we're doing is that we're trying to figure out new processes when there are already systems in place. And there are already people doing what we're trying to figure out what we need done. Yes.
I put this program at Westgate, it was successful. I put this program at Shank, it was successful. And I got better, and this program got better over the years. Then I went to Jefferson County, where 1 in 3 kids were going to jail. And it was really successful. Then I put it in town. I just put it at North Florida Christian. And the kids did that. So I put it at Jefferson County. I mean, Taylor County. The kids been doing that.
But this is
the track record of the program of Diamonds in the Rough.
wow. And this, well, I mean, you know, and this is, here's the thing with no funding. As a matter of fact, I remember when at this time, the House Speaker was, oh my God. I'm looking at you going over to the Department of Education, and I'm walking with you because they wanted to celebrate you. Man, what's his name? Richard. God, I can't even think now. I can't even remember now, but I remember walking with you because they had heard about what you were doing in the lives of these children. They wanted to meet you. They wanted to celebrate you for what you were doing. Listen, we're out of time, but we're not out of word. I just wanted you to be on the show for 15 minutes. Here it is. We have talked for 1 hour, and guess what? There's still more to this story. But December the 18th, ladies and gentlemen, listen, please follow him on Facebook, find his page. Make sure that you get in touch with him, inbox, message him, let him know that, hey, I want to make a commitment financially to partner with you. And then I want to be there. And for those of you who got law enforcement friends or know somebody in law enforcement, get in touch with Mr. Leroy Smith, because he wants you to be a part of this day so that these men can say and know that law enforcement officers are people just like they are. They hurt, they cry, they do all of that. And then guess what? They know how to come get involved, because the word for the day is systems and action. That's what makes the difference. Coach Smith, man, thank you so much. I know I can't pay you for the hour that you spent with me, but once again, your investment into Richard Corcoran. Thank you so much, Dr. Williams. You are right. Richard Corcoran invited him to come to the Capitol, and he celebrated the work that he was doing in Jefferson County with those kids, because like he said, 1 out of 3 was ending up in the system. He changed those numbers around. Not only did he have them in football, but he had them in so many other academic activities that made a difference with Diamonds in the Rough. That's what it's all about. And sometimes you wonder, when programs are being effective, when they're making a difference, why they can't get support. And before you know it, they don't want you back in the schools no more. Did I just say that? And you say to yourself, well, I'm doing a good job. You see that, the rates are changing. You see that kids are not getting, and you don't want me back no more, and I'm doing it for free. Okay, that's another story. I mean, because I experienced the same thing. As a matter of fact, you and I went to a school that was an alternative school, and I mean, and we were doing such a wonderful job with those kids, and next thing we know, we couldn't come back no more. And I'm like, really? Oh my God. So I'm like, are we really serious about change? But anyway, that's another story. It's been a wonderful day. Coach Smith, thank you so much, man. Count me in for support. Financially, I'm going to get 5 people to support you. I'm going to sow a seed of 200. I'm going to get 5 more to do the same thing. And we're going to make it all happen. Listen, this has been the Greg James Community Show. This is what we do. I think the Lord had this orchestrated. That's why I forgot the day was Wednesday, because he wanted this to be heard. Coach Leroy Smith, Diamonds in the Rough, Win Elite, December 18th on the fields at FAMU. It's going to be a day of empowerment with our young men. Listen, until next week, I want you to be blessed and walk in a system of change.